everybody and welcome to this June 2019 bullet journal setup video. Before we start to plan our June layouts, let's quickly flip through the previous month. May was actually quite hectic for me, as I guess it was for many people because of the finals and everything, and I didn't end up using my journal as much as I normally do, but I really hope June will be a little bit more relaxed. I've also managed to get a cold from somewhere, so I'm sorry if my voice sounds a bit weird in this video. But let's now get started, and as always, I'm starting by setting up a cover spread for my June layout. My theme this month is safari or savannah. I hope that's how you say it. I've actually been planning to do this theme for quite some time already, but I was postponing it because, to be honest, I wasn't sure if I could pull this off. I definitely challenged myself this month with the decorations, but the final result ended up being one of my favorite themes of all time, so I'm really glad that I decided to do it. So you can see I already started to sketch this lion head to my cover page. Of course, I needed to start the safari theme with the king of the animal kingdom, but I gotta say, lion wasn't the easiest animal to draw, and I did spend quite a long time with this drawing. I would probably advise you to spend a good amount of time with the pencil sketch, because that way you'll be more confident later when you need to start to go in with colors and pens you can't erase anymore. Also, I think the most important thing here is to get the proportions right. So try to pay attention to how far away are the eyes from each other, also how far are they from the nose, and how wide is the face in general. If you have these bigger things right, the small details will fall into place even if they aren't exactly the same as in your reference picture. I'm showing you some quick guidelines here that I realized while I was drawing this lion and I was studying the lion picture I used as my reference. When I realized that the eyes worked as really good guides for the rest of the face, my whole lion head started to look much more accurate. I know this is pretty complicated anyway, but don't worry, we will also have some easier decorations coming later in this video if lion is not something that you want to challenge yourself with. Now that I was happy with this sketch, I'm coloring this with a few of my Tombow brush pens. If you're not new here, you've seen me using this technique many times before, where I don't use my brush pens directly on the page, but I actually use a small clean brush and a bit of water to make the colors easier to blend and a little bit lighter than they would be straight from the brush pen tip. This is a very useful technique when you want to be a little bit more precise with your coloring and also get a little bit looser end result. I'm also using my reference picture here constantly to see where to place the shadows and which direction the fur is growing on the lion's face. On the lion's mane, I wanted to use a bit more color. I know this is probably not very realistic lion, but I thought it would look nice with this kind of fiery orange color. And for some reason, the mane was probably the most difficult part for me here. I was happy how the face turned out, but I actually came back to this one later and added some more shading to the mane part. Anyway, this was one of the decorations I didn't know if I could pull off, honestly, which is why I always try to encourage you as well to at least try to draw something, even if you think you can't. Often, if you just take your time, you might really surprise yourself with some talents you didn't know you had. So when it comes to drawing or any other art form, at least try before giving up, because you know, it's not the end of the world if it doesn't turn out well either. That happens to everyone, but it's important to at least give it a shot. But now let's move on from the cover page to my big monthly calendar page. I haven't done a big calendar in a while, so I decided to bring it back this time. I'm drawing these individual boxes for each of the days, and oh my gosh, it was so tedious to draw all these boxes with a ruler. No wonder why I rarely do a big calendar like this. And just a reminder that you can find all the products I'm using from the description bar below. I always list and link all the tools I'm using. I used a black background on the weekdays, and it gave me a little bit trouble this time for some reason. First, my white Uni Posca marker didn't want to work on top of this specific black ink, so I switched to my Uniball Signo gel pen, and after that I realized that the black color bled through this page quite badly, as you can see here. It destroyed the next page a little bit too much for my liking, so I decided to glue these pages together to get rid of the bleeding and ghosting a little bit. This was actually the first time I had to do this with my Dingbats notebook, and I've been using this for the whole year this far, but just so you know, the Tombow Fudenosuke is probably not the best pen to use for this purpose, at least if you need to go over a certain area a few times. Anyway, after this small episode, I continued with my monthly calendar page decorations, and I decided to bring in my watercolors for this one. I've been using these in my past videos, and this month, this is actually the only page where we will be using watercolors. So right after I thought about a savannah theme, the first thing that came to my mind was the sunrise from the Lion King movie, you know, where they play Circle of Life, like that scene. So that was kind of my inspiration for this quick landscape painting. So after I have my paints and my tools ready, I'm starting first by applying water to make my whole paper wet, so it will be easier to get a seamless blend for the colors we're gonna use on the sky. And then I'm just going in and starting to apply this orangey color to pretty much this whole painting, but concentrating the color mainly on the top half. Creating this kind of landscape is actually not that complicated. I'm just slowly building the intensity of the colors on the sky. I'm trying to make it slightly darker from the top and then leave some room for the yellow sun lower on the horizon. I think the key is just to make few layers and let the paint completely dry between those. That way you can build the colors to make them darker and eventually get pretty even color throughout this whole painting. When it comes to the crown part, I divided it into this brown and black section. If you look at pictures of landscapes, you'll realize that what is further away usually appears lighter in the photos, so that was kind of what I was going with this. After a few layers and then using my blow dryer to dry the painting a bit faster, I started to draw some trees on top of this with my Tombow Fudenosuke pen again. And the good thing about using only black is that you can get away with pretty much anything if the overall shape of the tree seems somewhat right. You can almost mimic these shapes of clouds and make these kind of leaf groups just by drawing random dots with your brush pen tip. You don't have to be precise with these. I think these trees were much easier to draw than they look, so I highly encourage you to try this out if you like this look. And of course you can also choose to draw some kind of animal silhouettes or more trees to this kind of landscape. I just finished this up with some flying birds and then cut the correct size out of my painting so I could glue it next to my calendar. Okay, I feel like we spent quite a long time with that calendar page, so let's move on, shall we? On this next page, I will set up a focus area for the month of June. I've done this many times in the past, where I set some priorities for the month, but this time I decided to only set up one priority for June. And this time for me, that will be routines. May was hectic for me, as I mentioned, and as you can imagine, I don't like hectic. I like my routines, I like to organize my life. That's why I keep this bullet journal where I can literally track everything. So this month I tried to focus on my morning routine, for example, that I talked about last month. I will try to keep up with my journal more, also schedule time to plan ahead to really minimize any surprises or being late on my schedules, or at least I try to be a little bit more prepared if something doesn't go as planned. So on this next page, I will have a simple content list where I can list all my ideas for YouTube and Instagram, and where I can also keep on track of what I filmed, what I already edited, and what I have posted. I really hope I can do more on June than I could on May. I was feeling really bad for being so absent from Instagram, for example. On this page, I decided to continue with the animal theme, so if the lion was a little bit too challenging for you, maybe you can try this one out. So on this page, I will draw a giraffe. I think they are such lovely animals. They have so pretty eyes and they make so funny faces. Like if you're having a bad day, just Google up some pictures of giraffes and I'm sure you will feel better. Or maybe it's just me, I don't know. But this took me like half the time the lion did and was much easier to draw in my opinion. I think it's because giraffes have very unique and kind of angular features, which are usually easier to recreate on paper. Whenever you have to draw fur or think about different textures, it makes drawing a bit more complicated. So this time I could keep this drawing pretty simple, as you can see. I just looked up pictures from giraffes again and tried to follow their facial shapes. After I was happy with the outlines, I used pretty much the same colors I did for the lion. I tried to add some dimensions with the colors as well, and then I used the same accent color for the patterns in the giraffe's body to tie everything together. So yeah, after that's done, the whole spread is ready and we can move on to the next page, which will be already my first weekly spread of June. I wanted to try something new this time, so this month I'm only using one page for all my weekdays. I don't have that much going on during this summer because I'm pretty much just working every day, so I figured that one page would be enough for all my daily to-do lists. Then I wanted to add my habits and my sleep trackers on this page as well. I don't know why, I just wanted to change things up, and I usually use these pages the most anyways, so I want to see if it makes it easier to remember to check the habits if they are on this page as well. So for my habit tracking, I'm using these small symbols and I'm tracking some stuff I usually do, like studying Japanese, waking up early, meditating, reading, writing, and so on. And then next to it, I'm drawing this small graph for my sleep tracker, where I can draw a line to indicate how many hours I slept every day. The rest of the page will be for my weekly diary or weekly recap. And I try to make it a routine to review the past week every Sundays and also at the same time set up my journal for the next week. Now I'm just kind of doing it whenever, and I think I could use a little bit more energy on that in the future. Anyway, that's that for the weekly layout. I'm actually super excited to start to use this and see how it works. I try to also update you on my Instagram as well and show you how all of these things are developing. But now I will skip 3 pages for the rest of the weekly pages this month and end up this video with the last June review page. We have some bigger decorations to do on this page as well, so I kept the page itself very simple. I usually like to write a few questions to see where I'm going after a month. What did I learn? How can I improve moving forward? And also this month I decided to list my 3 biggest achievements to find something positive from the past month. Then I also have some room here to track my Japanese studying because I didn't do it as much recently as I would have preferred. The stars here will indicate the amount of Japanese characters I've learned on my phone app, so I can see how much I've improved on those after 1 month. So for the decorations, I had this idea to draw another landscape on this page to kind of tie everything together with this whole monthly theme. But this time I wanted to try it out with only my brush pens instead of using watercolors and kind of make it more simple. Because let's be honest, I have been drawing for a long time in this point of the video. So I started by drawing another one of these trees with just a black pen. This again looks complicated, but it's actually quite fast and easy to draw. Anyway, I also colored in the whole bottom of this page black, and for some reason this time I didn't have any problems with the colors bleeding. So on the different side of the page I used brown again and made this other tree a little bit smaller. And then I had this vision to draw a sun and some orangey red clouds to the middle. But after a while it didn't really end up looking like I visioned. So I tried to fix the situation by coloring the whole sky kind of orange with the same color. I tried to also intensify the sun with yellow and add some darkness to the clouds. Eventually, after darkening the sky for a while, I just decided that it was enough for this page. I didn't want the colors to bleed through too badly, so I just finished this up by highlighting my questions with the same accent color, and then that was it for this final page. And that was finally all for this June plan with me video. I know the decorations this time were a little bit more complicated. Actually, setting up all of this took the most time I've ever spent on a bullet journal layout. So if you don't like decorations like these, I'm really sorry. I tried to incorporate something easier next month, and I'll also cut these into shorter individual drawing videos to my Instagram. So if you want, you can easily find the parts that you're looking for. And by the way, this was also the last month on my Dingbats journal, because I'll be changing to my new notebook next month. I'm super excited about that. So some kind of bullet journal migration video will be also coming up in the following weeks. So if you're new here and want to stay tuned, please subscribe to this channel. It would mean a lot to me. But yeah, that's all for this video. Thank you so much for watching. I really hope you got at least some new ideas for your bullet journals. I also hope that all of you have a wonderful day or night wherever you are, and see you in my next one. Bye bye!